See if this works now. It says it's picking up audio. Can you guys hear me fucking now? Let's see. Oh, wait. See if anybody gives me any fucking feedback. Retarded. I hate AirPods. Can you guys hear me now? It says it's registering sound. God damn. I swear to God, I try to use these so that the sound will be better. Fucking AirPods. Never fucking works on my goddamn computer. Stupid. Stupid. Just obvious frustration. What's going on? There's like 3 of you. That's fine. I'm sure. Maybe a few more jump in. If not, I'll work through these questions anyways. Um, Steve was good. He stopped by for like an hour and a half before he had to leave town, driving all the way back to. Yeah, Steve only hung out for an hour or so, a couple hours. We just smoked a cigar and bullshit about guns, and then he's driving all the way back to Michigan. So he's got like 2.5 days of driving ahead of him. So it's he's got to drive. So, but it was nice. He stopped by before he left town, and we got to bullshit. So that was good. And then I had to drive over to Gray Guns to start the transfer on my Uzi. And there's like 3,000 pending background checks in Oregon. So that always sucks. So I can't pick that up until I get back from Idaho. And then but I got a email from Hodge that my Hodge 12.5 is almost done. So another gun to put some serious rounds on because I don't have enough of those already. You know, why not? But let's see. Okay. Let me see. I think I did. I asked you guys about questions. Let me see what I have here. Or is it just right there? There we go. Next live topics. Okay. First question from John is how important is semi-monolithic upper and rail or similar setup for controlling zero shift on small frame, large frame gassers? So the thing is, you guys have to realize. So I didn't get a whiteboard out, so we'll talk through this and we'll see how this goes. You on a regular upper receiver, what you do is you have a male extension. So that basically from the end of the receiver, you have the threaded portion that's male, which means that threads are outward, right? And so what happens is you have to attach the barrel and then a barrel nut, and the barrel nut goes onto the barrel itself. And what happens is the barrel nut is female, and it then threads onto the outward facing threads and holds onto the barrel. And so when you attach a rail, the rail attaches to the female barrel nut, and that female barrel nut is attached or touching what? It's touching the barrel. And so if the nut is really thin, what happens is you as you start torquing on that thing, whether it's through bipod, pressure on the barricade, whatever, you can cause deviation on the barrel. You can and do cause deviation based off tension on the barrel. And so, what semi-monolithic is basically LMT had a patent on the word monolithic and how that their patent was very defendable, and so you couldn't do semi-monolithic. And what semi-monolithic is instead of having a male threaded portion that the barrel nut threads onto, what you have is a female portion. And so you have no outward facing threads, they're inward facing threads, and the wall thickness is significantly thicker. And so And so what happens is you can put the barrel in, and then you have a male barrel nut. And so the barrel then attaches to or slides into the upper receiver, and then you thread in this male barrel nut. And the barrel nut then, and then the rail slides over the receiver extension. It doesn't slide over the barrel nut. And so when you torque on the rail, you're not touching the barrel at all. You're not touching the barrel nut. You're not touching the barrel. You're touching a much thicker extension of the upper receiver. And so that greatly decreases the amount of flex you're going to have in the rail system. And so that is what, when they're talking about semi-monolithic, that's what they're talking about. And semi-monolithic isn't tabs, it isn't, no, it's the fact that the rail slides onto the upper and then screws directly in. And so the Seekins, the Cobalt, there's a couple others that are semi-monolithic or monolithic like the LMT. The old Mega Machine uppers were monolithic. And those have a different barrel nut that then is held in by tension caused by the screws on either side being torqued to proper spec. So that is what semi-monolithic and monolithic give you. Are they necessarily needed in a red dot gun or something like that you're going to shoot 200 in, big ass dot, whatever? No, not necessarily. And guys have been shooting and killing lots of people with those guns for a long time. But now, if you try to go take a Mark 16 rail like a Geisley or a BCM, like a really lightweight rail that attaches to a barrel nut, and you start putting tension on it, and we're going to do this in Scope Carbine too, is you're going to see how much deviation there is when you start adding or pulling on a bipod or pressuring the top of a thing. And the way you test that is you shoot a unpressured group, then you put pressure on it in different ways, and you see if your group shifts. And so Scott at Veracity Solutions did this a bunch and posted his results on his Instagram. But we're going to do it live in class in Scope Carbine 2. Let's see, Florida SWAT shot. Yeah, I got sent that fucking video like 180 times today. I wouldn't. The problem with that shot is you only see the end result, which is great. It's a properly executed, but there's a scope cam, right? And so, or you can't understand. It's like one of those things like, could he have meant to do that? Yes. If you made that shot after the fact, would you say that that was something you didn't mean to do? That you you had a shot over the top of the computer and then you just forgot about height over bore and so it happened to work out. So, I mean, who knows? That I'm not taking away from the dude. The dude fucking crushed it and did what he needed to do to make that shot. But you're asking my opinion on it, and I don't think you'll ever get the real answer to that question. So now let's see what else we got here. But yeah, semi-monolithic, absolutely worth it. If you're doing scope anything, I think that is the way to go, which is why I went to like 5 manufacturers at SHOT Show and told them all they need to look at, because LMT's patent expired last year. And so I think you're going to see a lot more, which is why Ridgeline did semi-monolithic, is because that is the way to go for consistency and lack of laser shift and all these things caused by rail deflection. Are you hounding Seekins for a long action hit? I already know they designed it. There's stuff that Seekins already has designed. They're just so backed up that it's not being released yet. So take that for what it is. Yeah, Seekins is going to come out with a long action hit that does short action and long action, and it's going to be like half the price of a PSR or ASR or AXSR. So you're going to be able to get like a Seekins hit that'll do like 300 Norma all the way down to like 308. It's going to happen. Fondling my tripod. Let me see what Connor has. Not the one I'm married up with. Okay. Extending bottom legs of the tripod fully and letting the second section from the top be the mid-length height adjustment. Oh, so you're talking about using the smaller sections. The thing is, I don't think you're gaining anything. You can adjust, you can fine adjust depending on, so basically what he's saying is three tripod section, doing the small one first and then leaving the middle one as an adjustment. Dude, you have a ratcheting tripod leg. So no matter which ones you put out, you can make your fine adjustments off ratcheting it and fully closing or extending. If um, if you got it that wrong, or you haven't done the dry fire to know the number of leg extensions you need, then then get close and then use that middle one as your fine adjustment anyways. Um, like, so if you gave yourself, let's say, a fist of the third section, and then you had a fully extended second section, then if you were really at speed, then yeah, they just drop the second section a little bit. But I wouldn't leave the middle sections compressed. You will get more rigidity using the thicker parts of the legs in a tripod. Period. So do I care that you have a fist of one and you compress another one? No. If you're under speed, then you're starting with a better situation than using the thin section, the thick section, and having everything compressed in the middle. Um, so hopefully that answers that. Um, Acro P2 on a Glock. Okay, so he's asking about the Glock. Should he get a Glock MOS versus something else? The Glock cuts, the plate system on their guns suck, and I think they made some that are like Acro cut now. I might be mistaking them for MMP, but anyways, their plates suck. Now, other companies make better plates, and so you can get a Ford Controls or who else makes them? Bobro, I think. A bunch of other people make them, and so you can get better plates to work with their plate system. I think the best plate system for the Glock and 320, honestly, is the Agency, and the reason I like theirs is because I can go sight forward or back, and so I can run an Acro with sights forward on a Glock, which I like, and it kind of gives some protection from the ejection by that rear sight. But if you don't need that option and can get a great deal on a MOS, then just make sure to get a good solid plate to replace the crappy Glock one. But yeah, I'm not saying that because I know the guys at Agency or whatever. No, I just really like their plate system, and I've never had one come loose. Like, I've never lost an Agency plate. Once, ever. So I'm not ignoring you. I'm just going to try to get through these first before I get lost in yours. Overview and guidance for getting clip-on thermal night vision devices. I will do this. You guys keep asking me about this. I will do a live with John at Night Ops Tactical, who's my night vision guy, or Duffy or whatever, and we'll talk about this. Magnification is a huge thing with clip-ons, and I honestly don't have any knowledge of all of the civilian available, like, cheaper night vision. The cheapest night vision I've ran is a PBS 24 or like the Knights Armament one or iNods. I've never ran civilian clip-on thermal or night vision that wasn't military, like $10,000 plus. So and the thing is, honestly, if I was to buy one, I would buy a PBS 24 LR or something. Like, I wouldn't go buy a $3,500 night vision, because I think it's important. If you're going to spend the money, I just buy the right shit the first time. I spend enough money on stupid shit that I just have no reason to get a bunch of whatever cheap night vision. But I can do on, like, magnification, all that stuff. I'll do a whole other live on night vision, because that's an hour conversation in and of itself. If you haven't already, can you go over truing a rifle? Yeah. So the basics of truing. So basically, you have three different parts of your projectile's flight. You have supersonic flight, transonic flight, and you have subsonic flight. And so the general rule of thumb is that the ammo will fly fairly consistently and decrease in velocity at a fairly regular rate, pending BC, through supersonic flight. And this is where the, like, A/B forward off fucking Bloods versus Crips bullshit comes in. Is they both true. They just do the math in a different way. And some people like forward off better, and some people like A/B better. I honestly don't care. I just had to pick one that I teach with because and I can't have 14 different ballistic apps because they all take the inputs in a different spot and then nobody be able to track anything. So I was like, well, I have to pick one. And since AB was in the most devices, the Kestrel, laser rangefinders, the Fury binos, like all, dude, SIG, they're all AB. And so, yes, I know Vortex does geoballistics. I have the geoballistics app. I know that other people do Fordoff. I have the Fordoff app. But I had to pick one that I could just cover the biggest like thing with, and so I picked AB. Um, and so what AB does is Brian does his equation like this, and this is what fucks people up. It's because people go, I chronoed my gun. And so where you true velocity, and it says it in the AB app and it says it in the Kestrel, it'll give you this distance or distance range, is you want to true it about 10% before transonic. And so supersonic flight happens like a 308 out to like 795 yards, 850 yards. At about 850 yards, you're going to start hitting the transonic transition, and that goes for whatever, 150 yards. And it is this like unstable area. And so you want to be about 10% before that. You don't want to get any closer. And so it'll tell you like you want to be within 50 yards of 750. You don't really want to be 800. You want to be like 700 to 750. If you can't be 700, you can be 650. You want to get as close to that as you can because the model is going to work better farther. Like if you had 400, like you can true at 400, but the thing is that what's going to happen is that may deviate as you get closer because you've bent that velocity at an earlier point. And so what you want to do is you want to true as close to that as possible, and they true muzzle velocity. And this is where people get fucked up, is because what you're doing is you can have chrono and you can have BC off the box, and both of those are close, but BC is speed dependent, and so whether you change the velocity or not isn't saying that your chrono wasn't right. It's because you're using a box BC. And what Brian is doing is Brian's just truing velocity in supersonic flight. And then after transonic, about 300 yards, like 10 or 15% into subsonic, you want to true BC. And so what's happening is he's saying that the degrade in velocity is having more impact on your bullet in supersonic flight, and your BC is having more input in subsonic flight. So you true two different spots. What AB does, and this is why people get all fucked up, is because it changes the chrono velocity. It's like, dude, it doesn't matter. Like if it changes and most of the time it's close. Like it'll change it 10 or 15%, or you're just dead nuts on in supersonic flight. But some people it isn't because they're shooting a bullet where that BC isn't close. And so what they're doing is the bullet doesn't lie, and it's forcing the equation to fall into what your bullet's actually doing. Because BC is like, caffeine content on an energy drink. It's like, dude, it's an average. Like, and depending when the tooling that they cut the jackets was last swapped out, or what batch of copper they got, or whatever, dude, the BC of bullets varies, even what it says on the box. And it can be better or worse than what it says. It's just giving you an average for every fucking lot of like a Sierra 175 Sierra Match King or a 77 SMK, whatever. And so what Hornady does is Hornady never changes the velocity. And so that's why people like it better, is because they go like, well, because they're not wrong. And Brian's knows all of this. He's just doing it a different way. And so what they're doing is they're just going, hey, you needed this, you hit with this. And what they do is they give basically a degrade scale. And so they degrade the BC of the bullet to make the ballistic model match. And so it says the same velocity, but they're just making it go, okay, so from this distance to this distance, it's this BC, and from this distance to this distance, it's this BC, and that makes the bullet, the mathematical equation, track over distance. And so that's what truing is. Truing is basically you shoot, and then you see what the bullet does. You tell the equation what the bullet does, and then the equation basically, if you go, hey, I'm saying 2 + 2 = 4, and then you shoot and it says 5, You have to make the equation no matter what. You can't like blow on the bullet and make it 4. It's 5. And so basically muzzle velocity plus BC equals impact. If you have impact, you have to change these two to match it to make the equation work. Hopefully that makes sense. Let me answer a couple of these and I'll get back to these. Let me see. Got burned at last weekend's match with last stages, elevation still set using Night Force turret caps. Any disadvantage to using beauty rings so I can see elevation, weather concerns, etc. No, there's no disadvantage. Ooh. Oh, you left you were dialing and then putting the caps back on your LPVO. I mean, yeah, if you're doing that, then throw those beauty rings on and roll. I mean but that, dude, honestly, you should be just checking and putting. I don't walk off the stage without turning my turrets back to 0. Like you have to build that into your routine, right? Because I'm telling you guys do it in PRS all the time because they spun 10 mils on their turret, then they forget they're 10 mils high on their first round. So you have to get used to putting it back and just making it so like you pick your gun up, roll the caps off, turn back to 0, put cap back on. Or if you're just going to dial everything, I don't dial LPVOs. I just don't. Very rarely. And that's why I told Jimmy and Taylor, I was like, dude, for those guns, like, if you're never going to get comfortable in the Christmas tree, if you don't use the Christmas tree, dude, you guys will see you guys have been to some of my classes. Like, dude, I never touch my turrets. I hold 80% of everything, whether it's a bolt gun or a gas gun. Because I do it all the fucking time. Let's see. The Razor GB. I haven't been super impressed with the app, but I'm sure I just need to spend more time on it. Hard to move voice from Straylock. Dude, you guys fucking love that Straylock. I have it. And they have a new one that's like a pirated version back on. It's like for air. It says Airsoft or something on it, but it's like literally Straylock. Dude, they all work. I don't know. Guys are always, if your equation is wrong, it's an input you have in. It's just what it is. Because every class, somebody's like, mine isn't tracking. And I look back and I'm like, oh, it's because you put 0 offset in, or you have spin drift and aerodynamic drift or AJ on, or whatever. I've fallen into chasing the data. Just stop overthinking. Yeah. Well, dude, when I talk about truing in classes, or even quick win and speed drop, dude, people want to add 14 steps that aren't there. Everybody wants to overcomplicate it. Or 650 plus. I guess that makes sense. No, rain's not going to fucking ruin the scope. No, just throw the beauty rings on, man. Dude, if rain fucks up a attacker, dude, send that bitch back to Night Force. Dude, then just keep putting the caps back on, but get more used to turning the turrets back. And then next one, turn it back up, if you need to. Let me see. Okay, on a Tika CTR with a factory installed 0 MOA rail, should I replace the 20 MOA rail? Oh, so you have a 0 on your Tika and you want to know if you want to put a 20 on it or get a base with 20. Both will get you to the same spot. It really depends if you want to run a base or rings. There's the answer. So if you have a 0 MOA base, a base is cheap, man. That's like $60. So you could just then you could run rings. If you want to run a mount, like a spur or something, then get one with 20 MOA. But they both accomplish the same thing. I have a hard time saying one is wrong. Personally, if I was to do it, I would put 20 MOA on it because I would replace the base, because that would just irritate me that I have one without a base. And then I would run whatever mount I want to run. And the thing is that if you want to swap scopes and you want to take that mount or for whatever scope you have on there, if you get a 20 MOA one, you're not going to want to put it on any other gun but that gun. But if you swap the base, then you're going to have it set up where if you got another bolt gun and you wanted to swap scopes over, then it would be 0 MOA already, and you could put it on whatever gun you want. I mean, I do that, and I do that all the time. First time I've been hit by the wrong elevation. Yeah, I mean, dude, it happens to the best of us. I'm not saying I'm immune to it either. Like, dude, you get into the flow of the match and fucking shit happens. But I mean, take it as a learning point, and now you know what to look for, and hopefully you'll be more cognizant that it won't happen again. Any experience with the 4 to 20? Yes, I have one. They're more expensive than the 4 to 16. My 4 to 20 is on my AIAT 16 inch. And it's my law enforcement class gun. It's a great optic. It's a fantastic optic. The I think the 4 to 16 is a better gas gun optic. I like the 4 to 16 by 42, which is the smaller objective lens, because it just keeps it lower to the gun, and I can fit a red dot on it a little better, and it gathers enough light for what I'm doing with a gas gun. The 4 to 20, if I was going to run like a 308 AR or a 6.5, 6.5, I'd probably push a little more magnification. But a 308, the 4 to 20 would be a pretty, especially a longer barrel one. I'm putting that 4 to 16 on my APC 308. So, but yeah, the 4 to 20 is great. I no complaints. Mine's Mil XT illuminated, and it's on my AI 16 inch. Okay, let me see what else you guys got. Q&A. Here we go. Somebody else has a question. Where is it? Oh, max point blank. Oh, diopter. Let's go. So here's two. I'll start at the bottom. On how my diopter should be set on a 1 to 10. Okay. Diopter settings. So LPVOs. First of all, I have to tell you, MPVO is not a thing. LPVOs are made differently than other magnified optics. The reason is because you get true 1 power. So let's get that out of the way right now. On an LPVO, you do not have adjustable parallax. So the only thing you have is your diopter adjustment. And so I talked with Mark Smith about this, because Mark comes from a red dot and is going to a LPVO. And so he really wants the best 1 power performance. And so what he does is adjusts his diopter to get as good of 1 power as possible on lowest magnification. That's where I start, but it is not where I finish. And the reason for that is if I'm running 1 power with a red dot, bro, I'm shooting both eyes open. So I'm taking the red dot and putting it over where I want, just like I do with a pistol. Now, what I gain by adding an LPVO is the reticle, period. That is what you gain over a magnifier, over a red dot, is the reticle. And so I want, and the thing is that to use an LPVO, like when you have side adjustable parallax, what you're doing is you're taking the reticle and your target and you're putting them on the same plane. And so because you have a reticle, right? Unlike a red dot where I can just see a flash of red and pull the trigger, I need to see the reticle if I'm shooting holds. And so I can't have a perfectly clear target and a blurry reticle if I'm trying to hold 3.5 mils and a 0.5 mil of wind. I have to see the reticle. And so the other thing is that since I'm trying to do this, like this game back and forth, what happens is if you induce parallax, you'll have a clear sight picture. But the way I set it is okay. What I do is I lay prone, turn on 1 power, and I adjust it, right? I have both eyes open and I adjust the diopter until it looks as close to 1 power as humanly possible. Then what I do is rotate all the way to 10 power. Okay, go to max magnification, and I do it at 100 yards. And at 100 yards, find a refined aiming point on that gun or on the target, the edge of a triangle, whatever, the finest point you can, and then bag the gun. And so put it on a bipod, on a backpack, whatever, put a bag underneath the back so the gun isn't moving. And then what you do is you lift your head up and you look through the reticle and you do one of these things. And if you move your head left, right, up, down, whatever, and that reticle is moving, what that means is every time you place your head on that stock in a different location, you're going to see deviation on target. And so I'm going to fine tune that diopter adjustment until I take as much of that movement out as possible. And on a gun where I can't put those two images on the same plane, you're going to find that some optics you cannot take all of it out, but I want to remove as much as humanly possible. And then that's my diopter setting. So the thing is people go, I can't get a clear picture at 500 yards if I have a clear reticle. No, you can't. On depending on the optic and your eyes, the thing is some people are going to have a significantly less clear image with an LPVO because you cannot put those two things on the same plane. They are set at one distance. And so you can do like 200 or whatever. The thing is that I tend to do 100. It works fine for me. And yeah, I can make the image clear by looking through the glass, but then my reticle vanishes and I pull my eyes back to the reticle and the target gets blurry. That's the downside of an LPVO. And so, and that same thing exists with a regular variable power optic. If you don't adjust the parallax between targets, you're going to run into the same fucking issue. And that's because you have to put them on the same plane for them both to be clear. And so with a parallax adjustment, you get that opportunity. But no, and again, love Mark to death. He's a really good dude. He's just getting into this, and him and I have talked about this, and I've talked with Scott at Veracity about this. That is a red dot guy going to a scope. And he doesn't know about or didn't when he said that, whatever. You're just not going to have it. And he ran whatever, his 1 or 2 LPVOs, and it worked for him in his eyes. That doesn't mean it does for everybody because everybody's eyes are different. The diopter setting is literally setting your prescription almost for your gun, which is why if you guys have ever seen it, if I set my gun up and I have really good fucking eyes and you have really bad eyes and you look through my scope, we could be zeroed and you're going to shoot a different point of impact because of my setting on that gun is going to induce parallax for you. So even though the gun is zeroed, I can fucking burn that target out, that little hole. I can put you on it and you'll have a 1/2 inch shift because of the ocular adjustment, the diopter adjustment. So some things to think about. That's what I was wondering. Yeah, no worries. I mean, did that make sense on the diopter thing? Just making sure. Just like Eric said, they're 100% different. People get all like, no, the diopter setting set. Yeah, for your eyes, dude. Like that's literally a prescription. It's not yours. If you set your gun, I can shoot most people's guns, but I know that I could induce parallax. Because I got pretty good, decent eyes. But I've seen it before. Guys like, dude, your gun's not zeroed. Yeah, it's probably perfectly zeroed for that dude. It's because your guys' eyes are different. Let's see what else. Connor said, max point blank. Oh God, let's talk max point blank. What is max point blank? So max point blank is what you do is think about shooting through a tube, right? And so as you guys adjust your optic, right, and you adjust out to distance, what you're doing is you're bringing that near zero. What I mean by near zero is, so basically if you zero to 100 yards and you dial down, what you're doing is you're bringing the zero, that first point of convergence of trajectory and point of aim, you're bringing that in because that's elevating the flight path. And so you have near zero, max ord, and then far zero. Far zero is what you've dialed for, but it still crosses at a near zero point. So basically what max point blank is you're setting an error box. And what an error box is you're setting, I want a 12 inch, I want a 20 inch, I want a 30 inch, whatever height you're willing to accept. Where if I aim center of that target, that my max ord doesn't go off the top, and how far does it go before I go off the bottom, right? And so if I set 30 inches, then what do I have to dial that if I shot a tube that was 30 inches tall and I inside of a tube that was 30 inches tall and I aimed in the middle of the tube, what do I have to dial to make it go as far as humanly possible without going out of the top of the tube or before it falls out of the top? it falls out of the bottom. Does that make sense? Um, and so that means that if I'm walking around with, you know, a mil, that's like the magic number that a lot of guys use. It's like a mil dialed on your gun. Then if you hold center mass on a body, then you might get, if I aim here, you might get 6 or 7 inches of max ord. And then before it falls off the bottom, it's 350 yards. That means that any target that is within that size, human torso, deer, whatever, you can just hold center mass, pull the trigger. And you're going to put a bullet someplace in that error box. And you can set that. And how you find that is in the AB app, it's really easy. And depending on some of the other apps, you can do it. It really depends. The AB app's really easy. So if you want to set a 20-inch error box, and so plus or minus 10, what you're going to do is you're going to look and you're going to see how far out it gives you 10 inches of drop, right? Then you're going to go back into your ballistic app and you're going to change the 0 to that distance. And so you just go back 2 screens, change the underneath bullet, and then you go edit, you swipe left, push edit, go down, says 0, you change the 0 to that distance. So you're now telling it. So because what I want to see is I want to see if I use that 0, that means I dialed to that distance, what my max ord is, and how far it goes before it drops off. And so if I put that in there, you're going to see this, because what happens is people go like, well, that should makes perfect sense, because if I had 10 inches of drop and I dial up the same amount, then I should have 10 inches of max ord, which means a 20-inch. Not necessarily, because what you're doing is you're converging 2 points, and as I dial, it's not directly correlated, and you don't actually get 10 inches of max ord, and you end up with like 6 or 5. And then then what you do is you look basically at another 10 inches, and you look how far that is, and I usually back off about 10%, and I pick a distance. So if it said 365, I'll put like 320 in, and then I put that as my new 0, and then then I go back and look at the trajectory. Then what you'll see is you'll see that I'll end up having my near 0 will be 26 yards. My max ord will be, if I set a 20-inch, it'll be 9.4 inches at X distance, and then it'll cross at whatever 325 that I put in there. It'll say 0 again, and then I'll look for how much farther it goes before it runs off 10 inches. And so what that means is that means any distance between where I'm shooting from to where it gets 10 inches of drop, I won't leave a 20-inch plate if I held center mass. So that is max point blank. So I can hold point blank, I can hold center of the target, and since I've set that bracket, I know that I will hit some place on that size target from 0 to that distance. The thing is you're assuming a very large error box. And this is why I tell people, like, dude, speed drop it. And they go, what do you mean? I go, because I'm going to be closer if I go, hey, it's 200 yards, my speed drop's 1.5. If I hold half a mil, and then I look at I'll be within, let's say even if I was plus or minus 20 or 30 yards, I'm still going to be within two or 3 tenths. So I'm going to be within a couple inches. Whereas max point blank, I set the error box 20 inches. I might be 9 inches high. So like I've now reduced my error box significantly, even eyeballing the distance and speed dropping it versus a assumed max point blank. And we're going to do this in scope carbine too, is I'm going to put a bunch of targets out, and I'm going to build the max point blank, and we're going to shoot a variety of size steel, and you're going to see what happens. And then I'm going to go, okay, now estimate and just shoot, just speed drop those things. Like, does that look 200 yards? Hold 0.5. Does that look 300 yards? Okay, hold 1.5. Does that look 400 yards? Hold 2.5. And then we're going to see how much closer we are. And we're going to do it at speed. And then you guys will get to see. A lot of this stuff is just stuff I don't have time in Scope Carbine 1 to cover, but I'm going to in Scope Carbine 2. So, cool. I'm glad that made sense. Outside the ZCO 2 to 10, what glass are you looking forward to? The new Vectronics laser rangefinder. I'd like to get one of those Night Force spotting scopes and give that a try, if that ever becomes a thing. I'm fucking broke right now. Uh, sorry, it's responding. The uh, the Night Force spotting scope looks good. Dude, that Steiner was really underwhelming. I was actually really disappointed. Um, I wanted to like it really bad. It was really dark at max magnification. Dude, my Vortex crushed it, so I just sent it back. Um, there's no reason to keep something I won't use. So I sent it back to Steiner, and they went and used it for dog and ponies and whatever. Um, but the I'm going to Idaho this weekend, and I'm leaving in like whatever 18 hours, the 24 hours. The I will be bringing the 2 to 12 finally, and the 3 to 18 most likely. Yeah, I'll be bringing the 3 to 18 um, to Idaho. So I'll be putting my first rounds and zero on those. I didn't need to bring guns to this last class I taught because I was running their guns. They were like, dude, we run cobalts and AIs. And I was like, that's awesome. I was like, dude, do you guys have a gun I can demo with? Because then I don't have to fly guns. And they were like, yeah, dude, just shoot ours. And so, uh, dude, it cost me like $600 a class to fly guns. So when they were like, yeah, shoot our stuff, I was like, I got you, fam. Save me some money. But I'm trying to think, other glass. I need to get a bunch more ZCO. Trying to think. I'd like to get a couple more Tacker 1 to 8s. Ooh, March. I want to try. I saw March finally in person at my class in NorCal. NorCal? I think NorCal. The guy had a really well set up one with a Mars and all this other shit on it. Dude, that dual focal plane is a really cool concept. It was neat because basically what it allowed you to do is dial down the magnification, and the Christmas tree got smaller, the subtensions got smaller, but that center crosshair, the actual wire, the main just no subtension center crosshair, vertical and lateral, stayed the same width. And so as you dial down, you could still see it. You know how you dial down on a first focal plane, you get beneath a certain thing, and I mean, it looks like you're looking trying to find fish wire, like it's just too fine. This one made it so the subtensions got lower, but the crosshair thickness stayed the same size. And so it was cool. It really was, because it became significantly easier to see. So, uh, so yeah, the March stuff. I'd like to get a couple of those, but they're fairly expensive as well. Uzi videos. Yeah, I mean, I just started the transfer today. I've already got the 1913 rail here. I already did the Form One. I've got the optic plate here. When I get back from Idaho, I'm going to take both those over to Gray Guns, and we're going to get those mounted up. So I should be able to put a SIG brace on it, replace the barrel, and put a acro on it fairly quickly. And then, um, yeah, dude, I saw it today. Honestly, it was better made than I thought it would be. Not that I thought it was gonna be shit, but it was like, this is an old ass gun. Dude, that's actually a really well made gun. I was the grips got a super flat front to it. I mean, I'm not saying it's perfect by any stretch of the fucking imagination. Um, but it's that's a pretty fucking neat gun. I was pretty stoked. Yeah, on the Rotec suppressors, yes. I mean, I've had an interest in them, dude. Suppressors have been one of those things this last year. Uh, I've had companies offer me some discounts on some stuff, and then this law enforcement agency that I worked with offered me some of their old cans at like that ridiculous fucking price that like I couldn't pass up. And so, but the thing is even though I get the cans for cheap, I still have to pay for the tax stamps. And so it's like, well, yeah, but you're getting these cans for cheap. I said, yes, I know, but I don't always have $2,700 that I can just go boom and not feel the pinch of. So uh, I've got right now, Dead Air sent me 7 cans. Cobalt. I have a Cobalt Scrambler pending, 2 Huxworks pistol cans. Thunder Beast is sending me 2. KGM gave me a really good deal on some 5.56 cans, and then these department cans is 6 CGS, the SCI 6. So it's like, dude, uh, between the tax stamps on those guns is like $3 or $4,000 on the, I mean, all those cans. It's like 3 or 4 grand minimum. So it's like, yeah, I gotta financially recover from all this nonsense. Um, yeah, that's what I have coming is the new one, the new 30 cal can. I do I love the fact that B&T's like, fuck your feelings. We're gonna make adapters for all of your muzzle devices. That makes me so fucking happy. Um, Especially Surefire, because then you can it opens up people being able to run Otter Creek and Diligent Defense and CGS and Spectre Cat on pin and welded Surefire war comps and stuff, which is cool. So um, that's badass. I'm glad they're doing it. And gets companies like Surefire, like, dude, if you can't, Surefire updated their lights because Mod Light made a better light for like 2 years and they were getting their ass kicked. So I love it when other companies go, okay, fine. If you won't make them, we will. And then they're going to be like, oh shit. And then you watch, you're going to see Surefire made hub adapters or whatever because they're just getting, it's their pattern and somebody else is going to force them to make what they should have made 2 years ago. Yeah. I mean, that's, and the thing is, people ask me like about tripods. Dude, Really Right Stuff is the best tripod made. Um, Now, like Leo Photo. Leo Photo copies everybody. Everybody. If it's CNC aluminum or whatever, dude, Leo Photo's gonna rip you off and make a copy of it. I have mixed feelings about this because I have a lot of students that, like, yes, 100%, dude, a tack table from Ableco, a tack table from the MUB, all these things, 100%. And I know that these are small companies who are trying to make a living and they're making cool shit for, and I do. I just buy from the companies that I want to support. But I've got a bunch of students that don't aren't rolling in dough and can't write this shit off. And so it's like the when companies like that are making a similar product for like a third as much. Yes, I know, child labor, China, whatever. Like, but dude, it gets people shooting and enjoying this hobby and off the fucking internet asking me stupid fucking questions all day. And I'm not saying all your questions are stupid. Don't get all butthurt, old Patreon crew. What I mean is like, dude, I answer hundreds of DMs and like 50 a day, 60 a day are like, dude, go shoot your gun. Like, you're asking me a question you'd figure out pretty damn fast. Or it's like, why are you asking me to replace a part that's not broken? Like, well, I've got this Microbest bolt carrier group. Should I go spend $400 to get an LMT one because I heard that it's more reliable? And I'm like, dude, I've seen 30,000 rounds put through it, just a good mil spec bolt carrier group. Are you having issues? Are you seeing gassing problems? Are you having ejection issues? Is it headspace properly? No, you have no issues, zero whatsoever. Why are you asking me to tell you to spend money just for no reason? I'm just not that dude. Like, yeah, the LMT bolt carrier groups are badass. The Surefire ones, all these things. Like, bro, 90% of my guns are just Microbest bolt carrier groups. There's nothing special about them. This is one example, but it's like, dude, just shoot your goddamn gun. Let's see what else you guys got. I can justify buying B&Ts. Yeah, 100%. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, B&T makes nice stuff. Yeah. I I apologize. I haven't been giving you guys more time. Seriously, I just been this spring and fall. I'm slammed, and so it's been like class, home a week, and with like, dude, the last 3 months, people are like, dude, why haven't you shot these 4 scopes you got and these 3 guns? And I'm like, dude, I have to re-roof this fucking porch between my truck breaking down and the dog's fucking leg and all this, dude, life. And then my daughter graduated high school. My son just turned 14. Like, my other daughter's car has been breaking down. Like, dude, it's just Like, you don't, well, I don't post any of that shit on Instagram, but people are like, you've had this scope for 3 weeks or a month. I'm like, yeah, dude, I was out of town for 2 weeks. And then, God forbid, I'm a dad or have to do life shit. Dude, and then, you guys ask, or not you guys, but I mean, some of you guys. Um, and then I get asked 300 questions a day on Instagram. So, but I was watching quite a few people leave the old Patreon. And I was like, well, that sucks. I mean, it's $5 a month, and who knows the reasons. But I'm trying to do giveaways. We got those guns coming from IWI. Um, we'll do some more belts here soon. Uh, yeah, I mean, I've got a bunch more. I've sent out everybody's patches, hand stops. Hopefully, you guys got them. The sling mounts. I'm trying to make it worth your time, guys. So for whatever, the $50 a month or $50 a year or $100 a year or whatever you guys send, like there's a with only 200 of you guys on there, there's a high likelihood you guys are going to get something free eventually, uh, because companies keep giving me stuff to give you guys, and so I fucking put it in the mail and try to offer it up. The rifles are going to be fun. The uh, It's going to be 4 Criterion barreled IWIs that are all coated in Rhodesian camo for different seasons, and they're all going to be decked out with optics and most likely lights and Trigger Tech triggers. And what we're going to do is I'm going to pick a drill because it escalates in size. So it's like 12.5, 14.5, 16, and 18.5. So we're doing 4 very different builds, and I'm going to pick a drill that works for each build. And so like a 12.5, I'm going to do like the CQB warm up from Matt Pranka or whatever. I'm going to film it. I'm going to shoot it. We're going to talk about what the drill is, and we're going to put the standard with a PDF up on YouTube. And then for whatever, 30, 60 days, I'll let everybody go shoot the drill, film themselves, tag everybody, all that stuff, giveaway stuff. And then I'll select somebody at the end. And because I like to pick people who I think are deserving, and whether it's somebody who's just out there getting it with his Smith and Wesson M&P or whatever, um, I'll pick somebody, and then we'll give them a gun, and we'll do that between IWI and all those companies. I've got 4, so over the next year, hopefully ish, I'll be able to give away 4 fully decked out guns, which is badass. And honestly, to beat my chest a little bit, who else is doing that? I'll wait. So I thought that was cool. And IWI was all about it. Criterion was all about it. Vortex was all about it. So dudes are going to get a chance to win like a $4,000 plus package 4 times. So that's cool. And I'm happy to be able to do that. Let's see what else we get. Yeah, and then I got my camera finally set up. When I get back from this, I've got a month, so I'm going to do another bonanza of YouTube videos. Try to do a few more of those service rifles, some longer videos for you guys, and then I want to do some of the drills and stuff that guys have been asking me for those dots that I posted to the web page. I'm going to do some PDFs of different drills and stuff you guys can do with those, as well as par times and stuff as I flesh out and build and flesh out the par times for Scope Carbine 2. Because I've got a bunch of 308s and stuff I have to shoot anyways. And so I'm going to go par time the shit out of all these drills that I've got lined up for that. And that way it's good to go. Let's see. If I don't win the next giveaway, I'm out of here. Well, fuck. I'll just write you down right now. How about that? Whatever giveaway it is, you win. Hand stops mounted. Kestrel timer. And Kestrel. Yeah, dude. The Kestrel deal. So for the guys who don't know, and it's not like it's a secret, the Kestrel discount's substantial. It's Bruiser 15, I believe. It's not if it's Bruiser 10, but on an $800 Kestrel, you're going to save like $80. So plus, I think it is Bruiser 15. I'm pretty sure. So yeah, it's a killer deal. And then all the rest of my codes are all on the little code button on what's it called? Instagram. Let's see. Anthony hooked it up. Nice. I'm glad, dude. Dude, Anthony is such a great dude. He's an ex LAPD guy. His belts are fantastic. His warranty is second to none. Um, I I like it way better than a Ronin, and he's not a douche. So he's not a Vietnamese samurai. So there's always that. That's always a plus. Let's see. I like the sounds of this drill bass. Yeah, I mean that's the whole point, right? It's I want guys to shoot. Like it's kind of like classes, right? Like I'd love for all you guys to come take classes from me, come back, awesome. But like, dude, if you outgrow the current curriculum I have to offer, it's not like I can't run more. It's honestly it's a business decision, right? I have to run the curriculum that I can put people in at a speed that I can put people in them. So I mean I could do CQB, I could do breacher, I also have only so much time and I have to get enough people through my curriculum to get them into the next levels. So I'm not rushing to just throw every class I can teach on my webpage. And honestly, I like my schedule as it's spread out right now. So I'm changing some dates, but anyways, I digress. The I want people to shoot. I want people to get better. And if I that comes through me, cool. If I just push, that's why I want to do drills that are from other instructors. And so, like if I do a video and it's Matt Pranka, I'm gonna get Matt to record the explanation of his drill. I'll have him demo and I'll demo and we'll put it in a video and then I'll post it. And that way Matt gets some exposure. Not I mean he has more followers and shit than I do, but still. And then get everybody doing Matt's drill. And hopefully that drives some customers to him. And if it just got 10 more people shooting their fucking gun, then it's a win for me. I don't care. Like, I mean, I do. I'd love to have more students, but I just want people training. I mean, dude, I'm retired once already, so it's like Bruiser is half my income. The rest of it's my retirement. Um, yeah, I mean, a lot of my classes are the new locations are always slow. They really are. Arizona is moving. I expected Arizona to sell more, honestly. And I honestly haven't been pushing my schedule on um, Instagram enough. I think I just been busy. But the what's it called? Minnesota was slow. I'm probably not gonna make a whole bunch of money on that class, but it's a part of the country I haven't been to yet, so I'm not canceling it. So those dudes are gonna get. If there's 4 dudes in precision rifle, then those 4 dudes are gonna get my attention for 2 days. Uh, and that range looks pretty badass. We got 1,200 yards to play with, so that's my focus when I get back from this class. And then I basically go to PA. PA is pretty much sold out. That'll be good at Ben Franklin. And then after that is Clovis and Utah. Uh, the Clovis range is cool. It's a really cool range for scope carbine. Um, so that'll be fun. And then the St. George is gorgeous. And dude, good food, good lodging, good hotels, and a badass range with distance forever. So um, that'll be fun. And then basically I go from that. October's Washington, November's Arizona, December is Orlando for a law enforcement class, and then January I'm trying to hit Vegas, but we'll see. Um, hoping to get into the Missouri class next year, taking Ridgeline. Dude, let me know how that Ridgeline resting scope carbine is. Dude, I like Alex a lot. Him and I just differ on some things that we find important, but I have heard nothing but great things about their classes. Yeah, hit them up. I mean, dude, honestly, it's like everything's going to make sense for your application in a different way. And so you're going to pick something, you're going to pick a bunch of stuff up from Ridgeline or Jared, and then you might take a class from me or Kyle or Steve or I mean whoever, fucking Phil, and you'll grab, oh, that piece of context makes more sense for this slight variation of. It's not like they're going to get different information necessarily. I mean, ballistics are ballistics, uh, but you just might get something different or a new way to do something, or and it's all valuable. And so, yeah, dude, train with as many people as you can. Um, and honestly, I think sometimes training with the bad ones. I'm not saying, well, whatever. Maybe they're more old school. Whatever the thing is, training with some of them after you train with somebody who's maybe more your style or more progressive in their training or whatever, you'll learn. It'll give you a huge difference in lens in which to view the industry. And I can say, like, I can sit here and shit talk whoever I want, right? And you guys could all be like, yeah, well, Joe said. It's like, or I can just give you my information and you can go learn from somebody else. And maybe I'm the shithead and somebody else is so much better than me that you go, oh, fuck. And if that happens, DM me and be like, dude, you're behind because I'll fix some shit. But or you go listen to somebody who half their class is war stories and whatever, and you're like, dude, let us shoot our fucking guns. Or you'll watch somebody who never fucking shoots their gun. Or you'll like, there's any number of things, and you go, but I've seen somebody do all this stuff and teach all this stuff and do it in a different way, and their way made sense, and they were able to perform and whatever. Um, that is better. And then you'll know. And it's not because I said it or anybody else said it. It's because you fucking saw it. And then you've now gained context in which to view other instructors. I think that's more valuable than anything I can say. So, um, YouTube dates 1911 Syndicate. I was talking to Jake. Jake wants to do another set. Jimmy has been trying to get dates to come up here. I love filming with Jimmy. Probably do some more with Taylor eventually. I mean, dude, Taylor's about to have a kid. Jimmy's been busy. Jake and Chris have been busy. I've been busy. And so it's like trying to get any of them lined up is hard. But I would absolutely film with Jake again because Jake and I have similar tastes. Chris, not so much, but Jake is just a dork on cool guns like I am. So we've got some uh, some stuff we could definitely talk about. But I love filming with Jimmy. Um, and Jimmy wants to do more performance based stuff. And so Jimmy's videos would be educational more than, and I want to get Jimmy out here just shooting crazy stuff because I want to. So maybe we do some on my channel that's more of the, and I don't have the reach he does, and I honestly don't care. Uh, I'm putting videos on um, my page because I want to. And if you guys want educational stuff, then I'll just put it on Patreon. So, but if I like doing the educational stuff with Jimmy because that's the kind of the style of his channel, and I'll post more stuff on mine. I just haven't had the time lately, anyways. All learning good. Jimmy, yeah, Jimmy's one of my good friends. Um, good stuff. NRL coverage, yeah, dude. If you talk to Taylor, he's high on the horse right now from his finishes in some of these. And if you ask him, he should be the best in the country in everything he shoots. Love that dude. But yeah, humility is not his strong suit. Um, which is funny because it's honestly the biggest facade ever. It's like those dudes who really have no self-esteem, but they put out like an overly blown like bravado to make up for the fact that they really don't think that about themselves. Yeah, that's Taylor. Um, he's a good dude. He's just funny. Good video content is goal. So whoever was just curious. No, I mean, yeah, I don't like being on camera necessarily. I actually honestly don't. I do this stuff because, I'm an instructor and I should be able to, it's way easier when I have feedback, right? When I'm filming and there's no feedback, I'm not nearly as natural. Like if I'm filming something and there's like me and a camera, like I can't respond to your guys' commentary. So it's literally just like talking. That I'm not as good at. And so filming with somebody is way easier for me than filming with no feedback. So that's why lives are easier for me than educational stuff. Let's see. Pup updates. He's sitting right there on his bed. He was out here with Steve and I earlier. Ron is past 8 weeks, and so the bone should be healed, but I'm trying to still take it easy because that knucklehead will go full retard immediately. the first time I let him out without the leash on, he was like peeling out in the grass. He was just so excited to be able to actually run instead of just walk everywhere because it's been months. Um, so he was limping a little bit last night. I think he made himself sore. He wasn't limping today, so I've been kind of slow rolling. I've been rolling the ball on the ground a little bit, just letting him be out and kind of jog around. And then if he starts getting too crazy, I put him back inside on his bed. So I want to get him out to the river and let him swim a bit. But yeah, he's off leash. He's going to be with me in Idaho. That's why I got the topper so I can put him back there in his crate. But yeah, everybody says my delivery is getting better. I'm really curious how much it sucked then 3 years ago. But if it's that noticeable, I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm just more used to being in front of a camera now. So who knows? Let's see. NRL 22. Yeah, they have local matches here. It says the NRL 22 has been appealing to me. They have 22 matches, 45 minutes from my house. And so that's the whole reason I did that voodoo is because it's going to be the easiest match I can make it to because it aside from USPSA. And I haven't been on a pistol a lot the last couple months. Honestly, I'm gonna get back from this and then go like shoot like 3,000 rounds of pistol before that pistol range day I'm doing for free in a couple weeks. Uh, yeah, UKD. That's how PRS was in the beginning. Do you used to have to build range cards like the first day, and then the second day the targets would be up, and you had to shoot the stage using your range card. That was like NRL or that was like PRS like 10 fucking years ago. Uh, Seems to be the only local matches that are actually somewhere frequent. Oh yeah, Mill Master and shit. Uh, no, USPSA I can do close. I could do IDPA. There's IDPA locally. I have an IDPA vest, and I could do um, NRL 22. If I want to do PRS, there's a monthly match 3 hours away. So, but I mean, 3 hours ends up being that I have to make it there, which is an hour outside of town. So it's probably closer to like 3.5, 4 hours away. I wouldn't drive in the morning. I would drive over the night before. So it just ends up a 2 day event to do it. Um, yeah, it's kind of like that. It's a 4 hour drive for me. And so then you shoot a match all day. It's like then drive home. It's like, and the club out there does a 1 day PRS and then a 1 day NRL style. So it's like 2 days in a row every month. And so you could actually go out there and shoot the same gun and just shoot skills division, but shoot a PRS monthly and then an NRL monthly. And the only reason I haven't been shooting those is because they happen to be on the weekends that I have all my classes booked, very unintentionally. It's just when the availability was with my kids and ranges, and I wasn't looking to not be on match weekends. I was working around what I had. And I hate my life every time I choose. Yeah. And that's the thing. Like, it's going to end up being where I have to make a weekend of it, which is just expensive. I mean, yeah, it just ends up being more cost. And I've just been eating expense this year with everything going on. So, but yeah, I am aching to get back out into match shooting. It'll most likely be more USPSA, which is funny because I don't really teach pistol that much. Um, just because I can shoot 3 USPSA matches if the weekends are right, like within 2 hours of my house. So like that's absolutely like wake up, go shoot a match, come home 1 days. I can shoot USPSA 3 to 4 times a month if I had the free weekends. But with my class schedule and kids and everything, that's been hard to do. So, but NRL Hunter or the NR not NRL 22 match locally would get me building stages, shooting off barricades, and it's like 45 minutes. So that's why I built that voodoo. But anyways, what else you guys got? My wife's about to be home shortly with dinner. But hopefully, I answered some of your guys' questions. Uh, I really want to give you guys this availability. So if you guys have questions and stuff you guys want answered, especially things that are ballistics related that I can talk quickly about, or at least clear up some confusion, I can do that. That was a big ass mosquito eater. Uh, but I will continue to do these, and we can do some later if you guys want to talk about like scope mounting and stuff. I'll literally demount a scope just to do a live on scope mounting or whatever you guys want to do. Um, but yeah, um, as always, I appreciate you guys. Thank you for being on Patreon. Uh, I know it's not a huge amount of money for me, but it's enough that it helps pay offset some of the ammo costs and stuff for some of this product work. And and God knows I spend enough money on trying to do this stuff. And yeah, I could do a live scope mount one. Maybe we'll do that the next one when I get back, because I have that 4 to 16 attacker that I have to mount on that APC anyways, and it should be home soon. So maybe we'll do that one because I haven't put it in the Night Force mount yet either. So let's try to do that when I get back from Idaho. We'll do a scope mounting one, and I appreciate you guys. Hopefully, if you guys have any questions on the ballistic app and the Kestrel, those I've already done videos on those. They should be farther down if you guys look down the Patreon list. Uh, those are on there, and like I said, I'll be in Idaho all this weekend, and I will try to remember to do another top student gun in both classes. Um, at the end of a class, I'm always just like trying to get guys out of there and stuff, and I just forget. So my bad. I will try to get some more of those done, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace, boys.